Giant alligators attack a father and daughter stuck in their house during a hurricane. When the city of Florida gets hit with a superstorm, a girl sets out to find her father. She finds him in their old house, attacked by alligators. She tries to rescue him, but gets stuck with the alligators. The father and daughter face off with multiple alligators as they get brutally hurt and even lose a limb. The whole city is flooded, and there is no way out except for waiting for help to arrive. The movie opens in Florida, where we meet a young woman named Haley Keller. Haley's a swimmer and participates in a swimming competition, but unfortunately loses. Her father, Dave, was her coach, so she remembers his advice to never cry. After the competition, Haley's sister, Beth, calls her to check up on her. Beth is married and lives in Boston. She informs Haley to check up on their dad because a huge hurricane is going to hit Florida and they should evacuate. Haley hasn't talked to her dad in a while because they both argue, so she decides to check up on him. Haley drives to her dad's house in the storm. She gets stopped by Officer Wayne, Beth's ex-boyfriend. He informs Haley to turn the other way because the highway will get hit by the hurricane. Haley agrees and requests Wayne to check on her dad. On her way back, Haley changes her mind and drives through the plants. She reaches her dad's apartment and finds his dog, Sugar, but Dave is nowhere to be seen. She calls Beth and discusses their dad. Haley expresses resentment regarding their parents' divorce, blaming herself, but Beth assures her it wasn't her fault. Beth suggests Haley check in their family home to find their dad. Haley takes Sugar and drives to their old house. She looks around the house but still doesn't find him, so she calls him again and finds his phone in the kitchen. As Haley looks around in the kitchen, a tree branch smashes their window, indicating the hurricane is on the verge. She heads to the garage and sees the crawl door open. She enters the crawl space with her phone to look for her dad. She hears radio playing from far as she goes deep and finds her dad lying unconscious behind some pipes. Haley checks his pulse and finds out Dave is still alive. She checks his body and finds bite wounds on his shoulder. She tries to drag him but fails, so she places a plastic bag underneath Dave and drags him out of the crawl space. Right when she's about to reach the stairs, a giant alligator emerges from behind the stairs and tries to attack them. Haley quickly moves back while dragging Dave, but her phone slips out of her pocket. She crawls back to the place behind the pipes where she found Dave, and the alligator is unveiled to attack them from there. Dave wakes up, so Haley asks him what he's doing here because she thought Dave sold the house. Dave mentions that his deal fell through, so he came down here to board up some vents but got attacked by a gator. Haley checks Dave's leg and finds his leg bone broken. She hears her phone ring and decides to retrieve it. Dave asks her about her swimming competition, but Haley doesn't want to talk about it because she lost. She sneakily retrieves her phone and notices the alligator facing the other way. As she dials 911, she realizes there's a second alligator in the crawl space. She quickly crawls back to Dave, but the gator bites her leg. She kicks the gator and manages to free her leg, but comes across the first alligator and fights off both of them. She crawls away towards another safe spot, where she finds a screwdriver and stabs in the gator's eyes. The gator waits for her, so she decides to hide and check her wounds. Dave finds a shovel as he tries to fix his leg, while Haley ties a knot on her leg. The hurricane is hitting the city as more water enters their crawl space. After a while, Dave fixes his broken bone with his tool belt, while Haley crawls towards the wall with holes. She sees 3 people outside and calls for their help. The 3 folks are Lee, Marv, and Stan, who are looting a vacated gas store in a boat. Marv notices Haley flashing him her light from the crawl space. He walks towards Haley to get a better look, unknowing more gators have made their way into the city. A gator attacks Lee and kills her before Marv turns around. Marv heads towards the gas store to inform his partner Stan about the gators, while Stan is still stealing things from the gas store. Stan turns around and witnesses Marv getting attacked and murdered by gators. Before Stan can escape, a gator enters the store and attacks Stan as well. Haley witnesses their demise and gets hopeless. Dave now guides Haley to crawl towards the foundation to reach the wet wall where she can enter the house. Haley finds her way to the wet wall and finds a small concealed door. She tries opening it, but it's stuck due to a piece of furniture lying on top of it. This was their last option, but now they are stuck. A few moments later, Wayne arrives with his partner Pete on their boat to check up on Dave. The storm is loud, and the officers can't hear Haley and Dave yelling for help. Wayne enters their house and finds Sugar alone. He roams around the house until he hears Haley Dave from underneath the floor. On the other hand, Pete notices their boat stopped working, so he enters the water to check the boat motor. Back in the house, Wayne goes to the garage to help Dave and Haley, and leans over the flooded crawl space. Haley and Dave quickly warn Wayne about the gators, so he calls in Pete for backup. Meanwhile, Pete notices a gator outside and runs away as a gator attacks Wayne from the crawl space. Pete gets attacked by multiple giant alligators that eat him alive. Wayne also gets killed by the hungry alligators inside the crawl space, despite Haley's attempt to save him. The alligators go after Haley, but Dave saves her. They both hide again, but Haley is completely hopeless now, believing they will die here. Her father tries to encourage and reminds her that she never gave up since her childhood. That's why he even got her into swimming. So Haley asks Dave why he gave up on her mom. Dave mentions her mother was not happy with him, but Haley blames herself because she still hasn't accepted her parents' separation. Dave reveals that Haley and Beth were the reason they were still married, but when they both moved out, their marriage felt purposeless, so they gave up. He assures Haley that he won't give up on her, and they will defeat these bug-dumb gators. Dave now comes up with a plan to distract the gators, while Haley tries to escape from the stairs. Haley swims towards the stairs sneakily, as Dave bangs the metal pipes to attract the gator. One gator attacks Dave, but Dave fights back, hitting it with a brick, and then killing it with the shovel. Meanwhile, Haley notices the other gator still staying near the stairs, so she decides to escape from the drain pipes where the alligators came from inside the house. She finds Wayne's corpse inside the drain pipe area and comes across dozens of alligator eggs. She remains still as she witnesses another alligator entering their house from the drain pipe. She grabs Wayne's firearm and shoots at the gator, but it bites Haley's arm. Haley screams in agony but manages to free her arm while shooting the gator. The crawl space is almost fully flooded with water, so Haley swims inside the dirty drain pipe and enters the river. There she gets chased by another alligator, but manages to escape and enters her house from upstairs. Dave is about to drown in the crawl space as he bangs the floor above to alert Haley. Haley luckily hears him and breaks open the floor and rescues her dad, but he had drowned by then. She gives him CPR, but it doesn't work, so she smacks on his chest twice, which wakes up Dave. She picks him up, and they both leave with Sugar. They notice the entire town is flooded, but they see Marv and Lee's boat near the gas station. They also notice the dozens of gators swimming in the water. The rain stops for a moment, so Haley quickly swims towards the boat, attracting multiple gators towards her. She enters the boat before a gator could bite her, and brings the motorboat towards Dave and Sugar. They both climb aboard, but notice a giant ocean wave moving quickly towards them. The waves crash the boat back into their house, where they both get separated. Haley lands in the kitchen, where she finds Wayne's police radio, while Dave lands near the stairs, where he finds flares in a pot. Haley carefully grabs the radio and calls for help, giving the police her location, but the signals break off. On the other hand, Sugar swims her way towards Dave, but suddenly, a gator attacks Dave and bites off his right arm. Haley distracts the alligator and diverts it towards the bathroom. She manages to lock the gator behind the shower door and escapes the bathroom. She heads towards Dave and takes him and Sugar upstairs. She opens the attic door, but Dave notices a rescue helicopter. Haley waves a flare towards the chopper light, but another alligator breaks in from the windows and attacks Haley. Dave is climbing the attic stairs while the gator bites Haley's shoulder and spins her like a prey. Haley then remembers about her childhood, when she never gave up hope, so she burns the gator's eye with the flare in her hand and escapes from the window. She reaches the top of the house, where the alligator returns and is after her. Luckily, the alligator gets pinned down by a metal pipe falling down. Haley holds onto the downspout as the floodwater tries to move her to the other side. Her fingers slip, but Dave grabs her and helps her climb the roof. They lie on the roof holding hands as a rescue helicopter heads their way. Haley lights up another flare to signal the chopper, and the movie ends here. Don't forget to like and subscribe to our channel. Thank you for watching, and see you next time. Thank you for being a part of Black's Movie Recaps. If these tales of mystery and intrigue sent shivers down your spine, Make sure to hit that like button and subscribe to Black's Movie Recap for more bone-chilling narratives. Stay tuned, and until next time, stay captivated.